Hi, and welcome to Movement Mondays. I'm Alex Weaver. For today's class, all you'll need is a yoga mat or towel or something comfortable to do exercises on, a chair or stool or something sturdy enough for you to sit on, and some water. So I'm going to just make sure the stream looks good, and we'll get started here in just a second. All right, cool. So, like I said, if you're just joining us, all you need for today's workout is yoga mat or towel, something comfortable to do exercises on, a sturdy chair or something that you can put your body weight on that is roughly chair height, and some water. So we'll get started here in just a second. Perfect. All right. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to get started here in just a second. So make sure you have space to work out and something comfortable to lay on, and we'll get started. So if you want to head on over to your mat, we're going to start with a nice little warm-up. So we'll start with a set of 5 walkouts. So you're going to walk your hands out into the plank position and then walk all the way back. Stand up nice and tall. I'm going to repeat that 5 times. I think that was 3. I might have just lost count. Who can say? So on this last one, you can stay in the plank position, bring one leg forward. We're going to rotate and open up toward that leg and switch sides. We're going to do 5 per side today. And then you can go ahead and sit on back into child's pose for a second. Take a few deep breaths. And then we'll go ahead and come on up. So we're going to start with some upper body stretches. So you can sit in a way that's comfortable, but you want to make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. So bring one arm, put it behind your back, and then gently pull your head away. We're just going to hold for a little bit, and then very gently shift to pull forward. Also holding for just a few seconds. And then shifting to pull down and still slightly away. Back to that initial. That middle position. And then down. And then we're going to switch sides. So other hand behind your back, pulling gently away. And slightly more downward. And slightly more downward again. Back up and over. Slightly more downward. And down again. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and lay on our back. We're going to do a set of 12 glute bridges, and then we're going to do some stretches. So glute bridges, you want to make sure your core is engaged, your feet are hip width apart. So you're engaging your core so that you're not arching your back. So engaging that core, squeezing your glutes and hamstrings to come up, holding, and then back down. So we're going to do a set of 12, nice and slow. Don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to keep your core engaged. And I think this is 12. I'm going to do one more for good measure because I know how bad at counting I am. Awesome. So you can stay laying on your back. You want to make sure you have room to extend your legs, so I'm going to move over just a little bit. Also angle myself so hopefully you can see a little better. So I'm going to bring one leg up to here and just pull that towards me ever so slightly and release. And switch legs. So I'm pulling that other leg toward me and release. We're going to do 3 per side. So now I'm going to have you take that same leg you started with and pull it slightly across your body. Hold for a few seconds and then release and switch legs. So pulling slightly across your body and then releasing. You may notice that one side is tighter than the other. Totally cool, totally normal. You just might want to stretch that side a little more after today's workout. All right, so flip on over. I think this is going to be the easiest angle for you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to rest my head on the ground, extend my arms out to the side, and then I'm going to reach as far as I can over while keeping my chest on the ground, and then switch. So I'm reaching and switching. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and stand up. We're going to come into a little bit wider than your normal squat states. And we're going to sit into a deep squat and grab our toes. We're going to come up briefly into a hamstring stretch. Hold for a few seconds, and then back down into that deep squat. You can shift your weight a little bit. It's okay if you can't sit this far into a squat. You can come back up, and then come all the way up. gonna bring one knee to the ground. We're gonna drive our hips forward, keeping our core and our glutes engaged, and reach up and over, come forward, and relax. So up and over, and relax. One more time, and switch sides. So shifting forward, up and over. If one side is tighter than the other, you are definitely going to feel it on this. Brilliant. All right. So last but not least, let's do a set. So we're turning to on your hands and knees. We're going to do a set of cat-cows. So inhaling up into our spine, exhaling down. Notice that I'm letting my head and neck move with my body. I'm taking it nice and slow. Perfect. So we got a couple more things, and then we're going to talk about circuit one. So for this, you want to head over to a wall or chair, something you can grab onto. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to bring one leg up, and I'm just going to swing my leg pretty gently across my body in each direction. And then I'm going to switch and do the other side. See that it's a little bit more difficult for me on this side, it's tighter. All right, and last but not least, let's do a set of 12 super people. So we're gonna lay on our stomach, arms extended. We're gonna squeeze our posterior chain, so our glutes, hamstrings, go back, come up off the ground, hold for 2 seconds, and back down. So we'll do a set of 12. All right, so grab some water, and we're going to talk about circuit one. So circuit one today is single leg or both leg glute bridges, bird dogs, a hollow hold, or 6-inch pillar, which I'll show you both, and plank to downward dog with taps or YTAs. So I'm going to grab a sip of this, and then I'm going to walk everyone through all of those. Okay, so single leg glute bridges, super similar to those both leg glute bridges we did during the warm up. So you are engaging your core, straightening your leg. You put your arms at your sides, driving through your glutes, come up and back down. So just like that. Trying to keep your hips even and your core engaged. So if you don't want to do the single leg ones, stick with the both leg ones. Same thing, keep your core engaged, driving up through your glutes and back down. So that's number one. Number two is going to be bird dogs. So for these, If you don't want to do arms and legs, you can just do legs. So the full movement, you're starting off in the same position as cat-cows. You are keeping your core engaged. You are extending arm and leg, like such. Trying not to arch your back. Keeping that core engaged. If you struggle with doing arm and leg at the same time, you can just do extending leg like this, or you can even bend your knee and do like this. So either of those are perfectly fine. Third, so hollow hold or 6-inch killer. So hollow hold, I'm going to start with most difficult, actually, rephrase. I'm going to start with the easiest and then move to the most difficult variation, and then I'm going to show you another version. So the easiest version of a hollow hold is going to be starting with arms and legs here, and then lowering into position. So even like if you're keeping your arms and legs like this, you're keeping that core engaged, your back isn't arching, right? So the more your legs go down, the harder it gets. And then as you extend your arms this way, it gets really hard. So that open position I was ending in is the hardest version. If you want something that's a little gentler on your low back, if you feel like you're having a hard time locking in that core and not arching, you can take your hands and put them under your butt. And just like you would with leg raises, you can just lower to wherever you feel your abs engage and hold. So you can also hold ideally like about 6 inches off the ground, but it gets a little easier as you come higher up. So feel free to adjust either of those to your body. And then last but not least, we're either going to do YTAs or plank to downward dog with taps. I'll start with the YTAs. They are a little gentler on the wrists and shoulders. So you're going to lay on your stomach, resting your head on the ground, starting with your arms extended. You're going to squeeze your shoulders, come up into Y, shift into T, coming up, then shifting into A, squeezing shoulder blades back down. So Y, T, A. So that's option one. Option two is going to be plank to downward dog, which with taps. So you're starting in a plank position, pressing back into downward dog, tapping the opposite shin, coming back down. So each time you're coming back to that plank position and then back into downward dog to tap. So you can choose which of those you'd like to do. You can do YTAs one round, plank to downward dog the other round. It's up to you. So we're going to start in about 15 seconds with single or both leg glute bridges. So go ahead and get ready. All right. So 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. So if you're doing both leg glute bridges, pause for a second. And 10-second countdown, then we're going to do the other leg. So if you're doing both legs, just start back up when we start. And go. And rest. So next up, we have the the bird dogs for 45 seconds. So let me reset. And 10-second countdown. Ready, and 10-second countdown. And rest. So next up, we have the hollow hold. So 10-second countdown. Whew. Next time I think we're only going to do 30 seconds for that one because that was brutal. All right, so last but not least, you have plank to downward dog with the taps or YTAs, your choice. I'm going to shift over here for these. Are we ready? 10-second countdown. And rest. So grab some water, and we will restart here in about a minute. Whew. All right, so another 30 seconds, and then we're going to start back up with those glute bridges again. So either single leg or both leg. This time I'm actually just going to call out when to switch legs instead of switching the timer, so it's a little more efficient. So thank you for bearing with me as I figure out using the clock. All right. So we're gonna do a 10-second countdown. And we're back with the exclude bridges. 10 seconds. And go. And switch. And rest. Great job. Okay, so next up we have bird dogs. So remember, you can modify these as you need to take. So you can do just legs if you want, or you can do arms and legs. So 10-second countdown. And rest for a second. I'm going to reset this clock here. Alright, so this time we're only doing a 30-second hollow hold, which is much more manageable than a 45-second one. So 10-second countdown. Oop, wait. 10-second countdown. And hollow hold. And rest. Alright, so last but not least, we're going to do plank to downward dog with taps, or YTAs. So ready? And 10-second countdown. And rest. Grab some water. I'm going to talk about circuit 2 in just a second. today is push-ups, which depending on how confident you are in switching to a single arm in a push-up stance, you can add a rotation in. So I'll show you those in a second. Squats, seated calf raises, and crunches. So this is where that sturdy chair comes in, or several of these things. But let's start with these push-ups with rotation. So I'm going to show you first and foremost a full extension push-up with a rotation. So I'm here, I'm lowering myself down, pushing up, and then rotating across my body, switching, rotating. So you can see my feet are slightly rotating with me as I switch sides. So that's going to be the hardest variation. So working back from that. So obviously the next thing would be just a regular push-up with no rotation. You can also rotate from the kneeling position, so coming down, up, pressing through. You're not really going to get as far of a rotation, but you can still open up like so. If you are doing an incline push-up on a wall, you actually can come back and away like this, rotating sides. And then obviously any variation of those without the rotation. So wall push-up, incline push-up. So like using a bench like this, coming down, up, any variation that feels best for your body. Number 2, we're doing squats. So that sturdy chair might be helpful for squats depending on how you're feeling about your squats. So feet, you want your feet to be at least hip width apart. Core is engaged, trying to keep your chest up and open. You're sitting back, knees are coming forward and out, and then you're coming back up. So descending, back up. If you feel like your squat looks more like this and you're really leaned forward, you have 2 options. You can try sitting back to something, so just like this, sitting back to the bench so that my hips come back a little more, and if I feel like I'm losing my balance, I just sit right down. Or you can do elevating your heels, which I'm going to show you with this pipe here. So you can put a couple books under your heels so that it reduces the angle that you have to be able to flex to come into a deep squat. So you can also elevate your heels while squatting to a chair. 3, we're going to do seated calf raises. So again, you'll use that chair for these. You can also do these standing, but it's up to you. So seated, you're going to take your hands and press them into your knees like so, and then press up, squeezing your calves against them. Your calves are these muscles right here. So hands on your knees, pressing down, coming up onto your tiptoes, lifting your heels by squeezing these muscles, and back down. You can also do these standing. If you feel like balance is an issue, you can hold on to something. Standing on your tiptoes, coming back down. And then last but not least, crunches. So any variation of crunches is cool for these. So you can do feet up like this. You can do knees bent like this. You can do single leg extended. So any crunch variation works for me. Just make sure that if your hands are on your head, you're not pulling on your neck. So we're going to start here very shortly with, what are we starting with? Push-ups with rotation. All right. Just move this here. So 10-second countdown, and then we are doing push-ups with rotation. Great job. then next up we have squats. So 10-second countdown, and we are squatting. And go. Great job. So head on over to wherever you are sitting, or if you're doing your standing calf raises, you have a 10-second countdown. We're pushing into your knees. Job. And rest. So last but not least, you have 45 seconds of crunches. Remember, any variation you want. 10-second countdown. Great work. Grab some water. We have one more round of all of the above. I forgot to mention also, with the calf raises, you might see me do this next round. If you have something heavy that you can put on top of your knees, you can actually press down into like an object or weights on your knees to make those calf raises a little more challenging. You want to focus on the quality of the contraction, right? So instead of just trying to like do it really quickly, focus on feeling that muscle contracting and then releasing. So great job. We're going to repeat that round in just a second. Also, if your wrists bother you, you may have noticed that during those actually during several things today, you'll see me on my fists instead of with my hand bent back. So if you feel like that bent back position is bad for your wrist or doesn't feel great, you can always, if you're on something soft enough, you can do fists. You can also use, if you have a set of dumbbells, you can use the dumbbells as handles. And then kind of work from there. So I think I might try the dumbbells as handles for this round of push-ups with rotation. And if you have something similar at home, feel free. countdown. And we're back to these push-ups with rotation. 10 seconds. Great job. So next up we have squats. We'll do a 10-second countdown. And go. All right. So like I said, this time around, if you want to put something heavier on your knees for these calf raises, you can. We're going to do a 10-second countdown, and then we're on it. And go. Great job. So last but not least, another 45 seconds of crunches. Any variation you'd like. So 10-second countdown. All right, grab some water. You have 3 remaining activities, and we are done for today. first and foremost, we're going to do some jackknives. So if you do not want to do jackknives, you can also do dead bugs. So I'll show you both. So we're going to do 10 per side. So jackknife, you are starting laying completely flat on the ground, arms and legs extended straight out. And then you are crunching up, opposite arm to opposite leg, like so. If you don't want to do jackknives, you can instead do dead bugs, where you're doing the opposite, so you're lowering opposite arm, opposite leg. You want to keep that core engaged. Make sure it stays, your back stays pressed to the ground so you're not arching. So either of those are cool. We're going to do 10 per side. So when you are ready, I will be doing jackknives. You're welcome to do dead bugs or jackknives, as I said. So 10 per side. Go. Great job. Whew. Catch your breath for a second, and we're going to do a set of 30 Russian twists. So Russian twists we've done before. You're starting, so easiest way to do these is starting with your feet on the ground, knees bent, leaning slightly back so you feel your core engaged, and then rotating just like this. If you want to make them harder, you can lift your feet off the ground, same thing. So we're going to do a set of 30 or 15 per side. So ready and go. And rest. So last but not least, we're going to do a 30-second side plank on each side. So let me update the timer. All right. So 10-second countdown. Then we are side planking. So side plank, remember, you can either do a full extension like this, or you can bend your knees and stack your legs on top of each other and come up like this. You just want to make sure you're keeping all the muscles on the side of your body engaged. And you want your elbow to line up under your shoulder. So 10-second countdown. And then we'll do 2 side planks. 1 per side, to be clear. And go. And 7-second countdown. And the other side. And we are done for today. And go. Woo! And that is all I have for you today. Great job. So As always, I'm Alex Weaver. I am coach and owner of Alien Athletes. This class happens every Monday at 6 p.m. and it is sponsored by Thundermist Health Center. So thank you, Thundermist, for sponsoring this class. And I will see you all same time, same place next week, 6 p.m. Stay safe. Have a good week. Bye.